It's Friday, so you know what that is. It's another training log day. Let's get into it. My name is Carl Ragavan, Europe's original starting strength coach. This is Beautiful Strength and welcome to the show. The weekend, I was in London to coach two of my online lifters. They did their first weightlifting comp. They had a great time. They did fun. One went 6 for 6, one went 4 for 6. The one who went 4 for 6, it was his first meet ever in anything. So I would be pretty nervous doing a weightlifting comp as my first. So he did really, really well. I'm glad I was there. We had a great weekend. But on the tail end of that, prioritizing that weekend and being a good coach, this is a great example of when training doesn't go well. Here's what it looks like. Stay mindful and the world's not going to end. So how this all started, this whole fuck up, is I stupidly, instead of taking the train from Edinburgh to London, because I've already done that route and it was really, really nice, I wanted to try a different route. Also, I think Ryanair was substantially cheaper, so I did that. So it's Edinburgh to Stansted. The flight there was an hour delayed, not much of a big fuss. Coming back home, it was an evening flight and the flight got pushed back until they said 11 o'clock. And I've been on delayed flights before, the worst being in Toronto in Canada, where there was an actual snowstorm going on and that flight was in the afternoon, evening, and it got pushed all the way up to like 1 in the morning. So I was like, fuck this, I'm not staying in the airport all night, all day. So was luckily enough able to crash at the apartment I was staying at. But you know, it's just very stressful, very long days, just honking around all your stuff and eating crap food and, you know, being in a petri dish of germs and all of this stuff. So the glamours of travel. So those of you who want my life, be careful what you wish for, because travel sucks sometimes and it's tough and it beats you up. Arriving back afternoon on Tuesday, I crammed in my 4-day routine. So I had to do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, had no rest days. So that was because on Saturday, I was actually doing a road trip up to Harris. So again, it was 2 back-to-back kind of travel weeks. So this is how it ended up. So I could kind of feel a Stye coming on my left side. You can see it's all right now. But, it was fucking hideous. So I was actually pleasantly surprised because part of me was thinking maybe I should just do a light week and just do some weightlifting stuff because I knew the stress of the travel, feeling run down. I was thinking in my head when I was coming back, I was like, maybe I should just run a light weightlifting week and not really push program as planned. But you know what? I did the program, what was set out on my days. I've got my Thursday and then also my Friday is my 2 heavy pieces. And so the Thursday, I actually was really surprised. I could really feel my Stye coming on, but I pressed 130, felt pretty good. And pin press, 162.5 from high pins. That also felt really good. So have a look at those. And then disaster struck. So it's kind of interesting. And I feel like there's a sense of people always wanting to figure out whether they're recovered and knowing what's optimal, and if they go in knowing that they're not recovered or they haven't eaten enough or slept enough, they're already in their mind, they've already programmed their brain that they're going to have a shit workout. I felt pretty rough going into this Friday work session. I did it anyway, but I already knew from my first lift, which was clean and jerks, I was supposed to work all the way up to 120. I made 100 kilos in my warm-up, felt fine, but then this is how you know I was feeling run down. My next lift was 110 kilos. I actually just couldn't move. Once I actually like hit the jump position, I didn't have any speed. I couldn't rack the bar. And it was really weird. It felt a bit like a Twilight Zone because I knew what to do. I've clean and jerked 110 kilos many times, but in my head and my body, they just weren't syncing. And maybe it was just due to, change of sleep and, feeling run down. But it's very interesting because weightlifting, you either make the rep or you miss it. And it was just one of those very clear moments in training where I just knew I didn't have it in the tank today. So I've tried 110 a couple times and then even went back down to 100. Couldn't even make that. So I just sacked that off and I was like, do you know what? I did get 100 kilos. It's not what I wanted, but it's something. I came in and tried anyway, right? So have a look at those. Then the squats came. Warming up, everything felt heavy. And then the scariest part was 220. Almost felt, even though if you watch it on footage, it looks like it moves pretty fast. But as I was going down, I was like, damn, this is so heavy. I don't even know if I'm going to get back up with this. So it took me everything to do that 220 in my warm up. When I put 240 on the bar, I just literally unracked it a little bit off the pins and I was like, nah. And those of you who've had a Stye like mine, you'll know that it really pulses when you do something like heavy squats, heavy deadlifts. And I just knew how much energy it was sapping from me. I could just feel it. And I was just like, this is not my day. So instead of even doing my rack pulls as well, which I was going to attempt, do you know what? I just put everything away and went for a walk for about 20 minutes, half an hour in the sun. And that was probably the most productive thing I could have done. What's interesting is I actually felt like I made a very logical decision, whereas it's very easy when your program isn't doing what it says on paper to get very emotional about it and be very pissed off. And like I said, I already knew going into this week, I've trained for 2 decades and I've been barbell training for over a decade, right? So I know how my body feels, right? All that stuff. But no, seriously, I think I just knew in my heart of hearts, this was going to be one of the most challenging weeks I had. And I tried, and 3 out of 4 workouts went pretty good. So I can't really complain too much. And the more and more I think about training, especially when you're lifting my numbers, you just have to stack multiple 12 weeks together. So whatever happens in one particular session doesn't necessarily move the needle. It's more like blocks of 12 weeks. I need to have good chunks of time where I'm just keep on making progress. And it's one of them things, in the moment, you're pissed off and whatever, but obviously you'll see my excuse video while I'm in the gym. You can see it's pretty bad, my Stye. But it still pissed me off, right? But I think with the experience I have of training and feeling more like it's okay, you know, the world isn't going to end. So let this be motivation for all those people who have injuries, who are not making progress as fast as you can, who have a bad day. It happens. The best thing you can do is try and go back to the basics, fix your food, sleep, recovery, technique, you know, and let your body heal, right? So next week is another day. As you can see, pretty run down. Got a Stye. It's fucking itchy. I really want to scratch it. Don't really have proper ointment because you need a doctor's prescription for antibiotics. So did I skip training? No. Am I pissed off that I didn't make my cleans 120? I didn't even get 110 kilos, and then I dropped down to 100, missed that. So, you know, most of this week's training has been okay. I've cut down on a lot of the volume, tried to keep the intensity, but as you can see, I'm not Superman, and this is what happens in training. You just gotta be training. You gotta not like give up and be a pussy about it. I'm annoyed. This is how it is, you know, but I'm here training. So sometimes expectations and goals don't sync up with reality, and that's part of training too. So yeah, just remember, not everything on Instagram is perfect. You know, it's the people who show up when they don't want to train, when they've got X amount of excuses not to train. I basically trained every day this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and my sleep has been affected, obviously, with this Stye. I definitely feel run down. I've had a lot more things on my schedule to do, so I've had to wake up, so less sleep, you know, such is life. But we're here, we're training. So if you like this show, comment, like, share, subscribe. You know the business. I'm Kar Ragavan. That was Beautiful Strength. And remember, the barbell never lies.